Today's guest is Shan Greggs, owner and founder of Simply Sense Candles, and also a veteran from the Air Force. Shan and I had a great conversation about all things entrepreneur and all things small business, from the early days in the grind all the way to a 2-decade-old business that is thriving and growing and just getting started. You'll be happy to know that Shan doesn't just want a boutique shop, she's going to become a household name. And this conversation tells you exactly how that evolution for that vision took place. I won't belabor the point too much because this conversation does speak for itself, and she does drop real wisdom from someone who runs a real business, not just digital products or what have you, but a real hardcore day in and day out, look at the numbers, get things done business. Without further ado, Shan Greggs. I'm so glad that I got a chance to have you on this show. We had an amazing conversation prior to this, and I thought it was such a deep insight into small business and someone who's on the path to turn that small business into a household name that it needed to be told on another business podcast. And that's why I brought you here today. So I was wondering, one of the best places I think we can start is you had originally been watching TV, down on your luck. If I remember correctly, you were kind of like, this isn't it. Life isn't working. What show did you see and what did that do for you that changed the course of your life forever?
I was watching a Martha Stewart taping, right? Because I always watch Martha Stewart. I still do. I just watched her masterclass and I was like, oh, I'm going to be just like Martha Stewart. Oh, she's living her life. And the fact that she didn't start her business until she was like older is very inspiring too. But I was watching a Martha Stewart taping and she was talking about candle making. And I was like, man, I'm about to get laid off from the airlines again. And this was during the 9/11 crisis. So I had just started flying. I was so junior. I had only been flying for like a year and a half. And then they were like, yeah, we're going to lay you off. We're going to lay you off again. So yeah, I was watching Martha Stewart tape and she was talking about candle making. It's like, maybe I can make some candles and give them away for Christmas gifts since I won't have any money to buy my family gifts for the holidays. So that's how the whole candle thing even came up.
I see. And so then you start doing this out of the goodness of your heart to like make gifts for people. Where does it start to turn into money for you? Did someone say, no, 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 let me give you some money for this? Or how did that work out?
No, I think it started to turn into money as soon as I started to make the candles. Because I made the first batch of candles and I went to Michael's and, Hobby Lobby and got these things. And they smelled decent. But I was like, I know there's a market that sells the proper wax that I need and all these things. So let me start researching it and find out more about how to make a really great candle. So that from that moment on, that's where you find your passion. So that's when I found out what passion really meant.
I
So
like that you went into like an actual consumable, like something people can use on a regular basis product because you probably could have gone into anything, but it's awesome that your inspiration was that because then you could go to a Michael's or a Hobby Lobby. Hobby Lobby in particular, I'm actually a fan. I go there a lot sometimes to pick up little nooks and crannies, or what do you call them? Knickknacks. There you go. Uh, but at some point, when you started getting serious about it, you start looking at the reality of running a business. What were some of the first calls you had to make to actually get this into action? Were you able to do most of it alone? Did you have to do most of it alone?
well, I did call candle supply places. So we had two candle suppliers here in Houston. So I was like, wow, we actually have candle supply places in Houston. And I was able to call them, ask them some questions after I had done some research, of course, and kind of like gear me to the right wax to use or to try or, the different fragrances and things like that. So just picking up the phone, making some calls to candle suppliers because they want to sell their supplies. So they're going to tell you, what to use to make a really great candle or that can lead you in that direction. So that was one of the first calls I made.
And you instantly knew that your competitive advantage was going to be candles that actually lasted a long time in terms of scent, right? Because everyone knows it's no secret. Major corporations are the kind of companies that will say, we're going to make pies. Let's try to remove the bottom crust. You know how much flour we can save? And it's all about cost cutting and not a premium product. So you immediately went down that direction and actually started to create a candle that could last a long time and make the house smell that way. Was that how that fit, or did something happen to inspire you to make that happen?
No, that was the key aspect because I've always been a candle person. So I would buy candles, smell them in the store, get them home, light them all day, and don't smell anything. So that was my biggest challenge with candles. So I was like, what if I could solve a problem and really just make a candle that smells really, really good when you light it and you smell it all the way until it burns out, you know? So that was the thing that I knew that would separate my candles. And I was like, if I can do that, then they run out. People have to come back and buy more. This could be a very lucrative business.
Now, were you always someone that would sell things to people and kind of always had like a side hustle, or was this the first time you tried to actually sell stuff to people?
No, I was small. I was maybe 6 or 7 selling cookies to all the kids on the street that was supposed to be my lunch. And I would sell them, and in high school I did hair in the trunk of my car. So I would go around in the trunk doing people's hair. I was a flight attendant. I would go to New York and buy purses and accessories and come back and sell them at home to barbershops and beauty shops. So I've always done other things besides my job. I guess you call it a hustle. So I was always hustling something.
Oh, that's interesting. So then you had these resources you had already built relationships with to some degree, but it was for name brand products. Did you attempt when you first started pushing out your candles to reach out to these people and see if they would hold this product too?
Oh, that's the same. That was the first place I went. It was a matter of, Shan, what you have now? And it was like, no, now I got some candles. These candles are good. I'm not going to sell them to you. I just want to leave some here and I want to leave one for you to burn. And if your customers like it, let's sell it for this amount and this and this and this. So that's how it really got started, going to the barbershops and beauty shops and just seeing people walking on the street that, a familiar face. If you're a smiley face, hey, how do you like candles? I have some candles in my trunk. They smell really good. They light up your house. And once people bought them one time, they always call back for more.
Was it full of support when you started this journey and decided to do this? Like, was it really easy for them to say, yeah, sure, and nobody told you it can't be done?
No, it was always like, what are you doing? You're gonna resign from your job to start selling candles? Who does? No, nobody's doing that. What are you talking about? So it was kind of like entrepreneur, like, no, we know to retire, get a 401k. It wasn't as supportive. No, it wasn't as supportive because, it was just something different. And sometimes when your dreams are big like that, it's only for you to see, you know, it's too big for others to see. So, as you're walking in that journey, then they get exposed to some of the things and then their vision become, similar to yours. I don't know if anyone would ever see your full, dream. If I say, oh, I'm going to be a household name, people would say, okay, yeah, but they don't really see that. You
Mm,
know, I see
yeah.
it,
People
you
say,
know.
yeah, 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 and then they go on with their lives, not even actually giving you the vote of
And still,
confidence.
6 or 7 years later, every store they go into and every household they go into or office or car, whatever, and they see, they see and then it's like, wow.
You
Yeah.
know, it's interesting that you chose to become a household name as your mission. Do you feel like it gives you energy to have a mission and a vision that big? Because some people are just happy with a little boutique shop, they can pay their bills, and that's it. Where do you get this drive from, and why such a big vision?
It's just because it just keeps me going and it's just like something that I feel like it's very obtainable. If you can start something from an idea and try something and really perfect something and consistently do that for 21 years and continue to grow and continue to be successful, why now just make this my lifestyle? So now it's not like I'm waking up every day to become a household name, waking up every day because we're going to become a household name. It's just a matter of, it's a matter of time. Great banks
Wow.
are not built overnight, like Johnson and Johnson, AC Johnson Wax. Those companies wasn't built overnight, so those things like that, it take time, but just consistently chipping away every day, and then you look up and it's really happening.
So let's talk about the growth of this venture. At what point did it start to take off beyond a couple of barbershops and beauty salons?
I'll say after about 4 years. So for the first 4 years, I sold made the candles in my kitchen. Then I went from the kitchen to the garage. Then I sold them out of the trunk of my car for the first 4 years. So I think just pounding the pavement, just building up the brand and just building the foundation for those 4 years, just getting them in the hands of people, getting repeat customers, now building up the traction to customers from buying one candle to buying a case of candles, which I sold for $48. So after about 2 years, the only way you could really get candles from me is if you bought a case, and then I would bring them to you. And by the third year, it just wasn't enough time in each day to get to all of the people. So now in my fourth year, it's like, from pop-up shops to this to now, I really need a small location where I can be at consistently to really see how this thing is going to play out.
And that's the hard part because that's where that inflection of growth historically is where a lot of businesses begin to fail because some people are afraid of that growth that needs to take place and they don't hire people, they don't bring people on, they want to keep all the money. Sometimes people have the bravery to go to that next level, realizing the growth is going to be there. What was that like for you making that decision?
Making this decision to grow. So this is the fun part about my business that I love, because it's like I birthed it from a baby. Now it's 21 years old. So I've like grown with this business, and that's just the key to grow with your business. I allow the money to tell me what to do, when to make moves. So like I say, I was missing money because I couldn't get to all the customers. So now that means I have money that I need to spend to expand so I can make more money. Because if you're the night falls and you still haven't made all your deliveries and you still have 6 more to go, that's $300 that you missed out on, even though you can get it from tomorrow, but it's more money waiting for you tomorrow. So the $300 that I missed, if I can find something to pay maybe $500 a month in overhead, I know that I can sustain this place. And so it's just like I let the finances and the growth tell me when to make a move, because we have all these ideas in our head as an entrepreneur. Okay, next month I'm gonna do this, and by quarter 4, all this stuff, and then you get to that quarter and you're not able to do it. Why? Because the money doesn't say so. So are you still gonna force your hand and do it just because you say that that's what you want to do, or you're gonna wait for your numbers to tell you like, now you can do this? It's a great thing to have an idea, but to act on it, it takes you have to be obedient to your finances.
I love that. Not enough people, you look online on social media and so many people are talking about business this, entrepreneur that, but no one ever talks about look at your numbers honestly. Take a hard look at them. What are they looking
Yeah.
like? In fact, I've found historically that the people who are afraid to talk about their numbers are usually the ones that ain't really doing that great. Because anybody who's excited about the growth of their business has no problem telling you what their numbers are at and where they want them to be. Do you find this true to be for you?
Yeah, because even with social media, you start with one follower, right? It always starts from one. So I love the grooming process and the growth process to go to my page every day to see now I got 300 followers. Now I got this, until it becomes a point to now you don't even look anymore, because now you got 113,000 followers, and before you get to 114, that takes 1,000 more. So it's not as easy as to get, so just enjoying the whole process from start to finish. I think that's motivation for me, in every aspect of my business.
Now, where do you find the time to, because let me rephrase this. A lot of business owners look at social media like something they have to do. Oh, I got to be on this channel. I got to do this. I got to do that. And they would rather just keep running their business. Maybe they're afraid of the camera. Maybe they're just not interested in it. But have you seen an impact in your business from social media? And do you look at it like a thing you have to do, or are you excited? And how do you manage that?
Before I started my business, it was no social media. So it was just all word of mouth, hand in hand, just a traditional way. And when MySpace first came out, I was excited about that. How do I create a MySpace page? How do I do this? And so just so naturally, when Instagram came around, okay, I want to join. I'm always thinking about marketing and how can I get my product out to as many people as possible? How do I get it in the face of the consumer? And I don't see for free even.
You see it as a distribution channel.
So coming up, you didn't have a marketing budget. You don't, you don't, because marketing doesn't make you money right back like that. And I'm still flipping. I was still flipping my money, so I didn't have money to invest in marketing. So I really needed to use Instagram at the time. That was the only one, and Facebook to really push my product. So
I
I
love
don't.
that.
It's something that has to be done, definitely, but it's not a burden on me. I actually enjoy doing that. Now, I don't spend a lot of time on there because I do be busy, but I post the things that I need to post, interact when I need to interact and get off and then do other things too. So it doesn't consume me.
Here's why I love what you're talking about right now. Okay. A lot of people start businesses online and it's all digital, like 100%. And then they get mad when social media isn't working for them and their digital products. Because you sell something physical and you're able to track numbers and you're looking at it objectively, it's something you can grab and move, right? You have this ability now, or this opportunity to take a look at your stuff objectively and go, you know what? Our numbers aren't there. I'm still flipping. In the digital world, someone isn't selling and they're like, they have no concept of flipping, of investing, getting a return, flipping. Honestly, now what are they going to use that money for? Can they make another course? Or because it's so ethereal, right? It's not physical. So it's often lost on people what it means to start. If someone's selling fashion jewelry, candles, something just like everyday boots on the ground, we're pushing, we're making stuff, we're putting the product out. It's so much, if you have the right head, of course, like on your shoulders, it's so much, I don't want to say easier, but it's the vision is clearer about where you are and where you need to go. And why I wanted to have you here today is that a lot of people who are starting businesses today are online and they don't have any concept of this kind of hustle, and they get mad when things aren't going a certain way, not realizing what stage they're really at because everything they're doing is digital and ephemeral, ethereal. Right. So it's really cool to hear you talk about this. And you're talking about, I want the money to inform me, right? What am I looking at? Okay, I'm leaving money on the table. I need to invest. And how do I capture that today, not tomorrow? Right. Then you're like, look, at a certain point, I was still growing my actual capital, working capitals in my cash flow. So investing in marketing wasn't something that I thought was going to make a lot of sense while I'm busy trying to get my product out and still improving my product on customer feedback and everything else you got to do, filing paperwork, covering overhead. At this point, you're 4 or 5 years in, right? So at what point did you finally tell yourself, or are you not even there yet? Like, I'm really doing this. At what point did you really get a chance to accept like the identity that I'm an entrepreneur, or was it instant?
I want to say that I had the mindset, the entrepreneur mindset at an instant, you know, but you can have the mindset, but the business is just not there, like because you just been doing it 6 months, so your clientele is not built up, you don't have a lot of customers, so but you can still have that mindset though, but so that's saying that you still have to deal with the reality of what you have going on, not and knowing that it's not going to be that way forever. So I've only been doing this 6 months. I only have 10 customers. So it's not going to be that way forever. So if I have 10, now I have those 10. Now I need to get more customers and more customers. So just knowing that, and like I say, just steady growing with my business, it's just was, an aha moment, especially when we had to get a storefront. I think that's when it really started to play, because now I'm beginning to see exactly how many cherry candles we sold, how many, you start getting into the analytics of your business to see what your consumers really like by the numbers. You can gauge your business all day long by, I made this many and sell it, but it's not until you look at those actual numbers that you really say, hey, I think I got myself something here. And then you start from $1 all the way up to $1 million. You still, so because you when you're making $1, your problems are like 25 cent, 10 cent problems. You're making $10,000, you got $300, $20 problem. So then you're making $1 million, now you got $300,000 problems, or you got, so it's going to consistently say the same, and no matter whatever bracket you find yourself in. So, yeah, I think it was when we opened our first storefront that I really say, you know what, this is going to be something.
Where do
We
you get
probably
this? Sorry, where do you get this discipline from? Did you have any experience like previously growing up or at some point in your youth that gave you this ability to be organized and to be about it, or maybe in family, or is it just your heart and grind?
I was in the Air Force for 8 years. So 2 weeks out of high school, I joined the United States Air Force, and I was there for 8 years. So that taught me a lot of discipline. Being away from home, being away from my family, it taught me a lot of structure too. Being consistent, showing up for work with the same uniform on, boots clean, creases in my clothes. Just giving me that consistency on the, like every day. Because you're at home, you don't have to iron if you don't want to iron. If you don't want to iron your clothes for school, you don't have to iron your clothes for school. So just getting into that lifestyle and building that consistency, I think that is really one of the key factors that really helped me in my business right now as well.
Would you encourage anyone to find a practice that sort of mirrors that kind of discipline? Do you think people can find it outside of military service?
I think so. I think some people are just kind of like naturally disciplined, with that mindset. I'm not gonna say mine was so strong, but I do say that the military played a factor. So some people just automatically have that mindset, just to be disciplined in those areas.
Now, you've grown your business. You've said this a number of times now, 20 years in, right? 21 years in, I think you may have said specifically. You've now multiplied your product lines from candles to many other things. What are some things that opened up for you in the product line?
I would think the room sprays really opened up, burning oils opened up. Now we're getting into more of the home. We have like detergent. We just come out with like a scent booster that you can add to your laundry or you can mop with it. So that's doing really well. And also, we've added body butters. Just always kind of like things that's trending, keeping up with my market, seeing what's going on, dessert candles, just seeing what the customer wants, just really have a listening ear to what the customers are looking for.
What was it like when you started bringing people on? Did anybody ever say, don't do that, stay small, stay you, don't bring other people on?
Don't hire other people.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh, you have to hire other people. Like, because how are we going to get all of this done? Like, so it was kind of easy for me because when I started my business, it's like the lack of support. It wasn't like a lack of support from my family. They just wanted the best for me, and they
Mm.
wasn't formed on entrepreneurship. So it wasn't like they didn't support me. They just didn't have enough knowledge about how I would eat, you know, being an entrepreneur and selling candles. But once they saw that this was something that I loved and was passionate about it, of course they jumped on board. My mom is the first well, my coworker I hired also disabled individuals like with disabilities too. So my coworker, he's been with me since we had our first location. And then
Wow.
my second hire, she's retired from the post office, so she's my manager. It was the main one was like, you quit that job, you're not living here. You're gonna find somewhere to stay. When I want to start selling candles, so it's so funny now that she's she's my manager. But no, it's not like no. When you need to hire somebody, you gonna know because the money gonna tell you. You got all these candles to make. You don't have enough time in the day to wipe them all, lit them all, label them all. So that means you need to hire somebody. And once you hire that person, then the floor gets to going. Now you're getting all these things done. Now you're having backstop. So now it comes to, oh, maybe we can get inside of another retail store. Maybe we can pick up another contract, or maybe, I can do some different type of marketing. Maybe we can focus more on fundraisers. It's just a cycle that it keeps going as long as you keep going, you
If
know.
if you had to think for a second about what makes sense now at 21 years in versus when you first started, that you think is probably something important for anyone considering starting a business, or maybe they're 4 years in and still don't see it because you've got the experience that they don't. What's the most interesting thing or surprising thing that you've come across? You say, you know what, I should have known this a long time ago. I wish I did.
I had to pay my sales tax, be right with my sales tax, to take, to don't be so busy working in your business that you don't work on your business, like filing your sales tax, getting your permits and things that you need. So when your business do start to flourish and grow and your numbers start to change, um, and you reporting different things, they don't come back and say, hey, hold on, like, you was just about to go out of business yesterday. So my thing would just be, just to make sure you file all your paperwork and get your things in order. Make sure your basic business, and it doesn't take a lot to do that. It doesn't take a lot to do that. But pay your sales tax. It's not yours anyway. You're just holding it,
I love that.
interest free, you know, every quarter or every month, depending on where you are in your business. So if I was just, because it started off as such a hustle, but a business. But I never had a business. So, I just kind of took things for granted. But just to make sure, that's one thing I would really tell people for yourselves.
I appreciate that. Now, I want to roll out the red carpet for you as we can close things out and be respectful of your time here. What do you want people to know about what you're doing, and where do you want them to connect with you more than anything? Any primary channels, social media, your website?
Okay, I like to say we make candles that make sense. So anything you buy from Simply Sense, you're gonna smell it. If you buy a spray, you're gonna smell it when you spray it in your car. If you buy a detergent, you're gonna smell it on your clothes. When you light our candle, it's gonna go over your entire house in a matter of 15 minutes. Your house will be lit up. You can find us at Simply Sense Candle Co. off of all social media platforms. Simply Sense Candles online. And if you ever in the Houston area, we're near the downtown. It's 5217 Alameda, right here in the heart of Houston, Texas.
Oh, amazing. You got that down to a science. You'd be surprised. Sometimes I'll ask people and they're like, I don't know, my website. So that's the difference. This is the difference. If people weren't paying attention in this
Oh,
conversation, you're watching all the right things, the right numbers, you're watching the right moves, the right channels, the right products, the right customers. And I thank you for being able to bring that level of energy and that insight to this conversation because I think it's important to see what real hustle looks like. And I appreciate you because in a world of too many digital products, someone really doing it boots on the ground like you is something I really respect. So, Shan, thank you so much for stopping by.
thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.